G'day folks. Well, I did a bit more work on Viki last night. There is some footage, but I realised I had the camera on the wrong setting, so the videos may be a bit cloudy. I'm not sure, I haven't checked it yet, but see, I've bored out the melted cat. The front cat looked a lot like this. You can see how that's all melted, most of it was. So that's all gone. That's definitely gone. I've got a blower here because I've got the exhaust open underneath. I'm going to do a test run. Yeah, I bought out the damaged catalytic converter. The rear one was probably still serviceable. It just had a crack through the ceramic, so it wasn't far off failing. But this bank here, 4, 5 and 6, were just completely plugged up, possibly from a misfire, and he's fixed that. But too late for the cat. Yeah, like I said before, the owner did do a fair bit on it, but didn't look at the exhaust. He did say it probably needed a new exhaust, and he was pretty close to it because, yeah, the catalytic converters were blocked up and broken. Anyway, I'm going to do a test run. So I was talking to the guys at work about it, and I think everyone there nodded their head when they said previous owner had had enough, because everyone's been there. I went there with the 7 series. I just had enough of it, so I flogged it off for about $600 or something. I didn't get much for it, but at least it got rid of that headache, and now I've gone and bought another one. Well, I'm more interested in this than I was the 7 series. I was over it by that point. At least with this car here, if it turns out to be a complete lemon, then I've got a reliable backyard pet. It still putters around just fine. I just wouldn't drive it on the road as it is. Well, we can soon find out anyway. It'll be interesting. And yeah, like I said before, there's the water pump down there. Neat. G'day folks. I'm just doing a bit of work on Viki tonight. I made an inspection hole in the cat and found out it looked like the inside of the number 4 reactor at Chernobyl. It's kind of had a bit of a meltdown. You can see that material there. It's supposed to be honeycomb, but it's not. It's got a lot of melted bits. It's completely plugged. So yeah, let's just say inspection hole, big ass masonry bit, fan to get rid of the dust. That part's sort of okay, but you can still see some of the cells are melted over. That's not a happy cat converter. I'd be willing to bet that a coil-on plug misfire just flooded fuel through it and kind of nuked it. Not very good. So yeah, I'm going to carefully continue to bore all of the remaining material out. TIG weld a patch over that hole, and then we'll do a startup with the Y pipe back in place, the 2-into-1 back in place. Likewise, the rear cat's completely empty anyway. It's emptied itself into the rear muffler, so all that's going to have to come off and either be cleaned or replaced. But no, she'll be a happy little girl soon. Hopefully, provided that overfueling is fixed. Alright, now that the melted reactor core has been cleaned out, let's repair the little service port that I made. Bit of 1.5mm stainless. I'm just going to grind it back into shape, make a disc, and then probably place it on top of a couple of big washers or something and just sort of hammer it into a dish shape so that it fits neatly over the hole that I've sawed in the cat converter, and just TIG the thing on around the outside. The cat converter is basically the same thickness as this, so it's easy to work with. It's not paper thin, so it should be very easy to TIG. Yeah, nice. And then all that can go back on, and I'll do a test shot tomorrow. Well, test fire. Fire up, kick her in the guts and see if she clears her throat. I know the plugs, I took the plugs out on number 4 and number 6, and they were pretty darn wet, and I did that yesterday. So naturally I went after the front pipe, which has also seen the most heat compared with the rear. The rear one seems to be okay. This one here would have been glowing. And yeah, cat converter is completely melted, very hard to break through at first because the ceramic had just turned into a hard glass-like substance. But once I started breaking through, the whole thing just fell apart, and it was a lot easier to clean out than the rear one. The rear one was a pain because it was mostly intact. It had a crack through it, but there was no material falling out that was melted, so it was almost gone, but it was still there, so it doesn't really matter. I believe for emission wise I only really need one cat. I don't think you'd have to have 3. So as long as I replace the mid-body one, it's still legal. The others are just downpipes essentially. Hell, if I can find some cheap exhaust extractors for them, that'd be even better. Don't know if anyone would make extractors for an Escape, but it's worth a shot. You just take the whole... Mind you, the point of doing it in the car is because getting those manifolds off is a pain in the ass. So if I do get extractors, I've still got to take the manifolds off, so I might as well just leave the damn things as they are. But anyway, I'm going to finish that little disc off, and we'll maybe not TIG weld it tonight. I don't think I'll get time, but TIG weld it tomorrow. So yeah, that'll be fun. TIG it back on, get that bolted back on, and turn the key and see what happens. There we go. Ball peen hammer and a large washer. That's all you need to carefully shape out a little patch. Very nice. And that's the bit that I used to core it out, or bore it out. It, yeah, made a mess. So, yeah, I've got a little bit more work to do. I could bring these edges over a bit more. But that's going to get welded on tomorrow. Fantastic. Alright, let's see what happens. Okay, well, they just blew a ton of dust out. Yuck. Don't breathe cat dust. We still have a serious misfire, so I'm going to make sure all this stuff's firing off properly and go from there. I might give it a bit of a kick in the guts and see if those plugs clear up. I think that's going to be the problem. The plugs are all wet and oily. I've got a feeling they're shorting out. They're iridium plugs, but I don't know how resilient they are. I bet you they'll still short out if they're filled with junk. Oh well, one step at a time. Okay, so after a bit of messing around, if I unplug either one of these and connect it to my spark tester, which is just a spare coil and a spark plug and a ground lead, I get spark from both of them. But if I unplug it while it's running, it doesn't change anything. Unplug that one, which is number 5, the engine changes noticeably and then shortly starts backfiring in the, or just firing off fuel in the exhaust. So I'm wondering if I've got spark but no fuel from these 2 injectors. I don't know what the other bank's like. Like I said, that cat converter wasn't melted, so it wouldn't surprise me in the least if it's not working. Or sorry, if it's working alright, it's not faulting. I really need a good code reader for this, and the one that I got was just a dirt cheapie, and even the CD that came with it was damaged. I can't even install the thing. It's not even a USB one, so without active Wi-Fi or Bluetooth in my hands, I can't really use it. I'm curious about that ECM. I might pull that ECM out and just open it up. We'll see if it has any burnt switching transistors. Apart from that, I don't know. It could be 2 blocked injectors. These do suffer injector blockages and things. I might also do a leak down test. I'll also pull these out now that it's been running for a bit and just see if they're wet with fuel. But if they were wet with fuel, I'd expect to see it going out the exhaust and hear it backfiring all the time. Like I'd pull that off and it'd backfire. Or it'd backfire all the time, regardless of spark. Interesting. I'm getting closer. I don't know if you... The fact that there's Blue Max on there tells me you might not have put new gaskets on it. It might just be the old ones and some sealant. I've got new ones waiting for me at Repco, so I'll get them when I do this. I'll pick them up tomorrow.